Welcome to today's Explainer. Let's just jump right in, because today we're looking at something that's going to totally flip how you think about programming. A lot of people, especially when they're first starting out, they picture code as this very static, one-way street. You write some instructions, you hit run, and the computer just blindly executes them. But what if your code didn't just talk at you? What if it could actually listen to you?
That right there is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you make code listen? We're basically going to reframe what programming even is today. It's not just about giving a strict set of orders to a machine. It's about having a real, two-way conversation with a computer. Think about your favorite apps or websites. They wouldn't be very useful at all if they couldn't take your specific information, right? That interactivity is what brings software to life. And today, we're going to learn exactly how to build that into our own code.
Section 1. Making Python listen. Interactive versus static.
Look, static code is perfectly fine for basic tasks, but interactive code, that is where the absolute magic happens. It's kind of like the difference between a billboard that just displays a static message and a helpful assistant who actually asks what you need and then goes and gets it for you. To make this happen, we need to understand a core concept. User input is literally just data given to a program by, well, a user. When you type your name into an online form or punch numbers into a calculator app, you are providing user input. You're injecting fresh data into the program right then and there, making the code interactive instead of just a boring wall of text.
Moving on to Section 2, Input versus Print, Listening versus Talking.
Okay, to actually pull off this two-way conversation in Python, you're going to need two foundational tools, and the dynamic between them is honestly brilliant. You've got the input function, which basically acts as your program's ears. It asks a question, pauses, and actually listens for the user to respond. The print function, on the other end, is your program's mouth. It talks back and displays information. So input listens and print talks. It really is that simple.
Section 3. Handling text input, capturing basic text.
Let's actually see this in action with our very first practical application. When we use our listening tool to ask, "What is your name?" the program literally grabs that text and just holds on to it. Then we use our talking tool, print, to output a friendly greeting that includes whatever name they just typed. So as a result, when the user types Alex, the program instantly responds, "Welcome, Alex." Boom! We just had our first successful conversation with the computer.
Section 4, The Number Trap. Beware of strings.
Now we're going to raise the stakes a little bit. Text is awesome, but what happens when we want to escalate from text to numbers? Well, I've got to warn you about a massive roadblock that trips up pretty much everyone at first. Here is the absolutely crucial point to remember. The input function has a very specific quirk. Whenever it listens to a user, it assumes absolutely everything it hears is a string, which is just programmer jargon for text. So if you type the number 25, the computer doesn't see the mathematical value of 25. Nope. It sees a text character of a 2 sitting right next to a text character of a 5. It's like a word to the computer, and you definitely can't do math with words. This is a classic beginner trap.
Luckily, there's a really simple two-step fix to get around this string trap. Step 1, which we already know, is just capturing the user's input. But step 2, that's where the magic happens. We use a handy new tool called int, which stands for integer. We wrap our input in int to perform what's called a type conversion. This explicitly tells Python, hey, I know this looks like text, but I need you to convert it into a real, actual mathematical number. So let's look at how this plays out in code. Say we want to ask for the user's age. We just take our input prompt and wrap it right inside that int function. We capture the input and instantly convert it into a real number. Then we can use print to display it back. When the user enters 25, because we used int, the program outputs that 25 as a true mathematical number, not just a smushed together text string.
Section 5. Doing the math. Calculating inputs.
All right, time to prove we've really nailed this concept. This is a huge win when you get it working. We ask the user for a first number, making sure to convert it with int. Then we do the exact same thing for a second number. Finally, we print the sum of those two variables. The program asks for the first number, you type 10. You type 5 for the second. The program adds them up and prints 15. Now, if we hadn't used int, it would have literally just mashed the text together and printed 105, which is definitely not what we wanted.
Section 6, Your Coding Challenge. Let's test your knowledge.
Okay, we've walked through the mechanics, we've bypassed the traps, and we did the math. Now I'm officially handing the reins over to you. Here's your practice challenge. I want you to write a script that combines everything we've talked about today.
First, ask the user for their name using the input function. Second, ask them for their favorite programming language using another input function. And third, use the print function to output a personalized message combining both of those pieces of information. Something like, "Hey Sarah, Python is a great choice." You have all the tools you need to make this happen right now.
So, how did it go? Honestly, making your code interactive is the ultimate gateway to building software that actually matters. But hey, we are barely scratching the surface here. Are you ready for day 5, where we'll dive into Python operators and take our math and logic skills to a whole new level? Make sure you follow along and join us for the next explainer because things are about to get really exciting. See you then!